That's me in the very beginning. Now I am a baby and getting zoomed from my mom to my birthday. I don't remember a lot about my younger life, but I remember it was fun and I felt so safe. My mom and dad always happy. I guess my mom's sister was mad that my dad was so great, so she called the police and said he hit my mom. We were all reading and they came. I heard my dad yelling, "There, no way." My mom was crying loudly. Some lady took us away. The court said my parents abused and neglected us. They only loved us. The caseworker lied. I never saw my parents again. I'm still hoping one day they come. I am a victim of CPS and so are my parents. We need to find justice in all of this madness for all of us that are being abused. It's not fair. Every kid I know has a mom and dad. I know they miss me. I bet they fight every day for me to come home.
Don't get caught like us. Know your rights.
Selling our children. The corruption may start with the caseworker, but goes through the judicial system, passing the governor through the Senate and into the White House. The entire system has a hand in the business known as CPS.
Our children are stolen every minute of a 24-hour day. They are being robbed of their innocence, their trust, their happiness. As parents, we are isolated and betrayed by a government we trust. States are balancing budgets on kids' lives. Only 12% of the kids taken will be reunified. Title IV funding is being riveted with fraud.
We need to stop CPS, and abolishcpfs.com is leading the way. Join us.
All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to CPS Victims Hunting Justice. Sorry, we've had a little break here for the past couple of days, but trust in me when I tell you it was for the benefit of you guys. Tonight, I want to breach on something that we don't get into very much, but that's the whole meat and potatoes of what's going on here with children being taken from us as good parents. And it's a thing called Title IV funding. And I know that people hear about this over and over, but nobody really knows what it is. Let me tell you what. Title IV funding is inside of this book. These are the actions that your caseworker or your caseworker supervisor or the organization itself are supposed to go ahead and provide you as services to promote reunification. You see, you only receive Title IV funding if you promote, practice, and enforce reunification. Okay? Now, if reunification is what this funding is, which is how these guys are getting their millions and billions and trillions of dollars, how come we only have a 12% reunification rate? Why is it that only 12% of the families that get their kids taken by CPS are reunified? because there seems to be a hell of a lot of money out there, whole lot of money out there, going to these organizations into these states, but these states aren't returning these kids to their families. You know, and these are things that we need to start to dive into and start to really look at and say, wait a minute, you're right. You know, every 3 months, these people are up for a restart of their funding. There's a process that they need to go through to complete all these monies. The 72-hour hearing, the jurisdiction hearings, the jeopardy hearings, you know, permanency hearings, all these special hearings with the names and such that you have on them. They all have reasons behind them, and that's funding. Right here, I'm going to share with you this article because I can't help. This is my state that I live in, but also, you know, this is Maine is one of those states that this is just slipping by. But I'm not going to allow this to happen anymore. I cannot do this any longer. Let this go by and let this state get away with what they're getting away with. A review of more than 200 randomly selected child protection cases involving reuniting a child with their family found that all failed to meet at least one federal standard for doing so, while most failed to meet more than one. A new report from the Office of Program Evaluation and Government Accountability, which conducted the review and interviewed state workers, parents, and other stakeholders, identified a range of challenges to meeting the federal government's goal of finding permanent home for children. OPEGA Director Peter Schleck told lawmakers Friday that caseworkers are not meeting federal requirements to ask a court to terminate parental rights when their children have been in state custody for 15 of the 22 months. That deficiency and others found while reviewing 235 case files dating back to 2017 are most likely tied to lack of staffing, community service for parents struggling with mental health and substance use, Schleck said. These are not apparently isolated issues. These are what we would categorize as systematic challenges. Now, in the state of Maine, if you've had your kid taken while they were having systematic challenges, don't you believe that we should be writing into these congressmen and these senators and all of these people and talking to Janet Mills and all of these other people saying, where are our kids? Because you know why you can't find homes for them? Because we're empty. We want our freaking kids back, Maine, and you need to give them back. You're stealing our children. What kind of company in this world would allow such a failure rate and allow this to continue? None that I know of. So guys, welcome back. I got back here. I got our special Monday co-host. We got us with us, Josie. We got Miss Melissa with us tonight. How are you, Josie? Melissa?
Hi.
And we have a good special guest tonight, guys. First of all, how are you all doing? All right?
Living the dream.
I wasn't too rude, was I? In my my opening, I wasn't too much fire felt or whatever.
No.
No.
All good.
The
beginning of your thing today was really good. I don't know if it's not you change it on Wednesdays, but the beginning of your live was
that's my new one. That's the new one I've been working on for the past couple of days. So thank you for that.
Really good.
Oh, thanks, Josie. You got anything new in your case, Josie?
The only thing new on my case is they never answered my emails. So yesterday I went to the hospital. I went and tried to ask proper questions about what's the protocol and everything. And I went and I wanted those two security guards' names. Remember when they were holding me? And they're like, we're not going to tell you, blah blah. So basically, someone else told me that I had to go to court and ask the judge for a hearing or something. But I figured my court case is the 2nd of April, so I'm just going to bring it up to the court, and I'm going to say for the trial date, I need the court to give me a mandate to have their names and everything. So I'm just going to push it for when I go to trial, because obviously they've been told not to answer my emails, not to call me back, not to answer any of my questions. It's clear.
This sucks. Hey, I put one of your stories up on the abolishcps.com page. It's right there when you come in. So if anybody wants to check out Josie on her TikTok, it's right there on the front page when you sign into abolishcps.com. So check that out. She's got some good stuff there. Melissa, what about you? We we got some challenges ahead of us, huh?
Yeah, we definitely do. That's the understatement of a lifetime.
Yeah, I don't know if you wanted to let anybody know or not. We can keep that private where we're in court or not. That's fine by you.
Well, with the way our case is, because everything was approved and good to go from the get-go, and we've kissed the rear end every way they've asked us to, and now all of a sudden we're the bad people for doing it. The attorney at the last hearing brought up constitutional arguments, so now we're having to do writ of argument to the state attorney general's office and wait and see how it gets ruled by the state attorney general. They may choose to come to the next hearing. The judge said most likely they won't. The attorney said most likely they won't. But because this is a constitutional argument that was just won in the federal court in January and is currently pending in the federal appeals, at the Supreme Court, there is a good possibility that the state attorney general may actually make their appearance because they don't want to let a second case sweep by. But in the meantime, we're the horrible people, but yet under an emergency basis, they moved my daughter last night because she was in a home where they're now investigating them for molestation of 3 other children.
2 years this kid's been there. That's all that this baby knows is this family. And up in the middle of one allegation, they take this baby away. But it took them how many months?
And I actually talked to the worker a little bit earlier, and I asked her, I said, did you at least, because I was hoping they might have moved her over with where my son is, being that they don't let them live together. I was hoping that they might have moved her there, even if it's temporary, to maintain the stability and kind of the what she knows and who she knows. Yeah, no, they stuck her with absolute strangers.
Of course. Oh, they're such pieces of work.
And she's been with that person since she was 2 months old. I don't think me personally, I don't think that there's as much facts to their investigation as what's been coming to me in messages, but I still ain't gonna not turn that stone and then have my daughter harmed.
See, this is another thing. I found out some things for you today that I'll call you back after the show and I'll let you know. But part of this Title IV funding is the fact that they keep the siblings together, the fact that they keep your daughter has to stay within the area of you. There's a lot of stipulations for them to get this money, and they've just been sucking the money off of your kids. You don't even have.
Well, yeah, because they not even get the title. They not only get the Title IV funding, they're getting over $4,000 a month in Social Security dependency checks from my ex who passed away.
Oh, so they got.
Yeah, and they're not even using my son's check to buy him school clothes. He came to visit 2 weeks ago, and his pants looked like a capris on a girl, and there was a big hole ripped in the knee of them.
Oh my God.
And I actually asked, I said, hey, I said, Hannah, what size pants do they want for them? What are the school colors? I will go buy them. We'll discount the fact there's $3,800 going to them every single month on his behalf. I will still go buy him some more school clothes.
Mm-hmm. Jesus almighty. Well, tonight I have a friend of mine, I guess you'll call him that. He's a good buddy of mine that we met randomly online quite a while ago. His name is Bo Rupert, and he is an advocate for pretty much anything that sucks against the government that are impeding on the people. But he's got quite a story. Bo, how we doing tonight, buddy?
Hey, pretty good, man. How you been?
Well, we're hanging in there. We're all upright and taking nourishment. Bo, you want to tell everybody a little bit about your story? How you've come to be
we'd be here all night if I told you all the whole thing, so we'll give you the best brochure version we can give you. So I did about 9 years in foster care. I went through 3 different juvenile detention centers. The 3 state juvenile prisons Washington State has to offer. I aged out at 18. So I've continued to be an advocate for foster youth, criminal justice reform, police accountability, public transit, all sorts of things. A few years ago, I made nationwide headlines when I was banished from the entire state of Kansas. The ACLU picked my case up, and we won. I'm not banned anymore. It was unconstitutional. This year, I've been working on one specific project that's very near and dear to me. And I think I talked about it a little bit on our last show. Did I talk about Green Hill School?
You just got into it a little bit, but not too much.
So, Green Hill School is Washington State's maximum security state juvenile detention center. It is the mother of all juvenile detention centers in Washington. It's the main one. Washington State's most troubled youth go there.
Now, what does it take for you to be a troubled youth? You remove from your home and cause a bunch of hate and discontent?
Yeah, basically be removed from your home, get in fights in the foster homes and group homes, run away, smoke weed, be a kid.
Right.
That's kind of criminalized now.
Right, a kid that comes from getting ripped out of his family, out of his house.
Right, so criminalize them.
The best as you can expect that you would be.
Washington State is one of the worst states for this, actually. They've gotten better, but they're a long ways. So back in August, the Joint Narcotics Enforcement Team raided Green Hill School with a search warrant. They found 2,700 fentanyl pills inside of the facility. A CPS investigation broke out. Oddly enough, DCYF, CPS is, they're called DCYF. They're who operate the facility now. It used to be under the auspices of another state agency, but things changed, and so that's went on. It's been raided. They've had staff members just about every week arrested for something. There's been riots breaking out. I've wrote a letter to the editor. I've been on the radio about it. Been all over called all the elected officials in the area and raised hell with them.
And how much of a return do you get with that?
I'm still frustrated, to be honest with you. Yeah.
I mean, we're going through that. Like, Josie's been trying to get a hold of the hospital administration to find out who gave them authorization to allow her grandkid to be taken from there. No one will answer. No one returns their calls. No, nothing. Melissa tries over and over to get in touch with people about her kids. I've tried here in Maine. No politician wants to put their neck out and try to answer these questions. I mean, not since Nancy
One thing I will say that took me off guard last week was I called into the local radio show because this state juvenile detention center is also in the community that I'm from. So there's a high incentive for local judges to send kids to this facility, the local kids, to help keep it full. And it literally, a 10-foot parking lot separates the two. The county juvenile lockup and the state one right across, that's having all these problems. But I called in and I have about 4 times now on the radio raised a lot of hell about this. And what struck me as odd is the police chief of Centralia called in after I did. And he asked for people to come forward anonymously about Green Hill School. And what was going on there. And he says, I'm interested. I want to investigate it. And one of the things he said that took me off guard, which you never hear, especially from a police chief, whatever you guys think is going on, it's even worse than that.
Oh, wow.
Was his exact word. I do know that a major, I may say it wrong, I signed up with them. Their names are Kevy Sonnenberg, I believe is their name. which is a New York City law firm. They went ahead and opened up a tort file here about a month ago and started trying to reach kids on social media, former residents from there, over the past 20, 25, 30 years over sexual abuse. So there's been a lot going on, as you can imagine, in the last few months. It's been almost impossible to keep up with it.
Hey, Bo, I know that you're busy. I know that for a fact. You're nonstop busy. But I don't know anybody better than you that could put the pressure onto somebody. So I'd be curious if Josie was willing to speak with you, if you wouldn't mind maybe giving her a hand and putting some pressure on these people up in her neck. She's from Canada, and they came in and completely stole her child, her grandbaby, right from the hospital. And she's been fighting this fight for quite some time. But I think that she could use somebody pressing like you to maybe help press in on these politicians, maybe just write a letter or two to let them know that someone in the United States is paying attention to this too. And, if she was cool with you helping her out and you could do it, that would be something really awesome.
Yeah. Hit me up on Facebook, Bo Rupert, and just message me. And I'm going to be doing another unaffiliated podcast tomorrow. But tomorrow evening, I could probably video chat you and speak to you get more of the details and stuff on everything.
So Darren,
Go ahead, sorry.
To know Canadian law or rule very well, but it can't be too hell of a lot different than the United States.
hey Darren.
Yes, ma'am.
At one point, I actually was working with our governor's office. I had a rep there that he was calling me. He was super proactive, and he wanted to do something to see what he could do to help. And once he found out how corrupt, kind of like the bad juju going on in my case, yeah, we got blacklisted up there so quick it wasn't funny. Now, no one calls back. Don't matter how many times you call them, because see, the judge we're in front of was directly appointed by Governor Ivey herself.
Yep.
And it was kind of a little bit of an election fraud because the previous judge had won the election. He took bench for 6 months and then retired at 50 some years old. So he didn't really retire. He just didn't feel like being judged no more.
Right,
And when he stepped down, the governor appointed the judge's recommendation to step up as judge. Well, the recommendation was DHR's attorney. So he went straight from their attorney to their judge, and his best friend went straight from an independent attorney to their attorney. So, yeah.
That's just crazy. Is there a lot of that goes up there in Canada, Josie? Do they have the same corruption like we have down here? Like it seems like everybody down here now is put into power by the person that's sitting above them. They all have their own little mafias in each state. I mean, that's all they're doing is it's basically a little mafia. I mean, that's why I think
sounds exactly like the same shit, different pile. Same thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there you go, Bo. It's just the same as this country. It's just crazy.
Same pile of shit, just a slightly different odor.
Yeah.
But I can tell you here in Canada, like in Quebec where I live, like for the past week, I don't know what's going on, but like there's a whole bunch of reports on CPS cases in Quebec. There was even an article in the news how the social workers are now being portrayed as victims. It's
my God.
There's something weird. So now the social workers are now going to a journalist saying that they are scared for their lives, and I was like, wow, that's weird. Like that's exactly what happened to my social worker. So now they're trying to get empathy from the public, saying like their job is hard and they have trouble and they're being treated as pedophiles and people are telling them that they're stealing the baby. So like there's a huge wave, especially in Quebec, that now everybody is on social media and telling their story. So like to me, I find that like a win because now people are starting to be like, I've had enough. I'm saying my story. I've had enough. So which is good.
Right. No, but what do you think about when the caseworkers say that they're overworked and that that's the problem and so on and so forth? What say you about all of that?
I do think that there probably is a level of truth to that, a level. Because, the state of Washington, we'll just take them for a great example. I'm from there. I live in South Carolina, but I can speak on the foster care system in Washington like the back of my hand. So, they've gotten to the point in today's times, there's not even enough places to house them and the youth in the state of Washington. They are housed from Washington State to Tennessee to Ohio to, and you can't tell me you don't lose kids or track of them or misplace kids doing stuff like that. So I think the system is so big and there's just so many. There's just no logical way currently to manage the situation. There just can't be. There's just too much.
Well, there's too many kids. I mean, they're just pumping kids out. They're getting more than a child a minute. I want to find out what the stats are in Canada, but I want to, but in the United States, it's a child a minute. And I don't know if you heard me earlier on my monologue. So Title IV funding in this country, I don't know if they have, what do they have up in Canada for that? What funds them? But they must have something very similar. But one of the key things in this Title IV funding is reunification. And in this country, you get a 12% shot at reunification if once they take your kid. So you're getting a child a minute taken away from their home. You're getting 12% of those kids given back to reunification. That's going every year. So you're getting all these kids. Also, part of the Title IV funding is saying that the caseworkers and their agencies need to keep track of these kids if they're lost or if they're not found. But yet each state we're seeing has, 400 to 800 to 1,000 kids a year missing each year. But these numbers don't drop. This is every year, so it's like 1,000 kids a year from each state are missing. There's just too much money. This thing's too overrun. You're having people out there just grabbing things like get and go. How many kids can we get? Woo! It's a chore. It's their job. They're getting incentivized to do it. There's so much money coming in hand over fist. I'll guarantee you that this Title IV funding is funding most states' economies right now. I would go out there to say that. And I mean, there's just the only way to stop this thing is to throw the whole damn thing out. Give everybody their freaking kids back, and just start from something there, and penalize these bastards because there's gonna be plenty of money left over. Let us all have a little chunk of this cash. There's no dollar amount you can put on losing the first of your children. Your children's first haircut, their first steps, all of these things that you miss because your child has been put into foster care by some asshole that jumped the gun or wanted a new car. So I mean, these are things that are going on, and you're not going to stop that. If you work for a top company that's giving away Rolexes, you want a Rolex too. You're going to do what you got to do.
Well, hey, Darren, a thought. Maybe what we should start kind of working on is a way to do formal complaints for Title IV funding abuse.
Agreed.
Because I know that they could be tax audited on it.
Yeah.
One of the girls from one of our chats, if you remember, she was successful with having the GAL and the department audited. That one was kind of a lengthy process. That was 7 different forms she had to fill out in a certain combination. But I would think that there should be a way to file fraud on the Title IV funding if they're not meeting the procedures. Like do a mini brief with explanation of the misappropriation and start filing them.
The funding, though, I'd have to look. The only person that may have or body of people that may have the authority to do anything about that funding is legislatures themselves, the U.S. Congress themselves, because I believe that is allocated legislatively. I could be wrong, but I think it is.
Right, but it's paid through the Medicaid system.
Right.
And insurance fraud is insurance fraud, no matter which way you look at it.
Yeah, I mean, if these caseworkers are filing out their paperwork saying that they're going and gunning for unification, it's the best interest of the parents and all this stuff, they're lying. I mean, up until the day of my TPR, get this, the day of my TPR hearing, which is termination of parental rights, they still said that that the goal was reunification, even though we were sitting at the courthouse at trial to determine our parental rights. They still stated the goal was reunification. Now, if that's not a shot in the head, I don't know what is. Like what? You're supposed to skip out of this one? Woo, I missed that one. Now let's continue to go. I don't know. But they're doing this to a lot of parents. I mean, they're cutting the federal guidelines say 15 to 22 months. Josie, do you know how much it is up there in Canada before they will try to terminate your parental rights? Like how many months?
I think it depends. I think there's like an actual law for like the little ones for like under 2. So like normally like the adoption process, they say like it's like a year within the family, within the foster family. If they've been in a year, then they try to push for adoption. But then like when they're like from 6 to 12, it's like a different number of years. Right. And so, but like when they're little, they try to, I think it's like it's within the 2 years that they're out, and they push them out really fast, right?
Right.
So for adoption.
And all of this with running into problems with services, with them not getting able to get you the right counselor, or they put you in the wrong place, or say that there's nothing available, or you can't go to this doctor, and you can't do this service, you can't do this, exactly. And all the time bombs ticking, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Exactly. Yeah.
But what do you see about services that these places are providing, and they're not getting produced for these parents and such? Like, like what do you, or the kids even in these cases that aren't getting the services? I mean, because the children in the foster care system should be the number one concern of what is going on with their mental health, because these statistics show that coming out of the foster programs, man, you have a shitty shot at life in reality, and that's right. Not being real. That's what these programs
this is just a great example. I've always said that, at-risk youth and foster kids are the first people that get their budget cut every single time. That's the first people. Buffalo, New York is one of the greatest examples of that. They took $700 million from the foster kids to build Buffalo Bill's new stadium and fund that. So it's they're always the first one to get the short end of the stick. So
and they should be the ones that are getting the most attentive too, because the states, you figure the state's doing this to them. The state's the one that's responsible for all of this shit that's happening to these kids. So they should be paying for their recovery first and foremost. But it's pretty much like this, right? You get adopted or thrown into a home, and sayonara, good luck with yourself.
Right.
And that's just not right. I mean, maybe if you're lucky, you land into a loving foster home. I mean, Josie, this kind of stuff, and you too, Melissa, same with me, scares the shit out of us. Where's your kid going to end up if God forbid you don't get your children back? Where they go, what happens to them? Like that's a whole other fight. That's the fight that I'm in right now. Like it sucks, like where's my kid? What are they doing? What are they up to? What are these people doing to them? What, like so on and so forth. I mean, just to have that worry alone will cripple a parent. And then how are you supposed to be a productive member of society when all that's on your brain is that?
Well, and in my case, Darren, the one place where I thought they would go would be the foster parent that my daughter was just ripped out of, because she wanted to keep both the kids, and she wanted to keep us as the parent to the kids, and she just wanted to be, aunt to the kids. Because she didn't want to divide the family. She cared about the best interest of the child. And I think that's one of the reasons that they rushed to move my daughter like an hour after notified.
Right. Just because they knew that family was going to allow you to have access, and they said, stop the record. Let's get this out of here. We'll make up an excuse. That's all that freaking happened there. You know that, I know that, we all know that. Because it's so funny that all the things in their manuals and all the things that they talk about all say, keep that family bond, and their actions don't do even a morsel of what they're saying. They actually do the opposite. They keep that kid furthest away from the family as they can, it seems like. Like anybody you put down on the list to say, like, I want this person to be a caretaker or a watcher, they deny. Well, how about, Joe Blow down the street that's, got a couple of child pedophile charges on him, but that's okay. We'll put him in that house. Or, the kids that, their aunt, their uncles, raped the last set that came through, but we'll forget about that. Let's put them in there. You know, it's like they just turn their heads, but yet because, you know, you smoked a joint or because you did something completely acceptable in the eyes of any person in the United States or Canada, but some asshole
Hell,
thinks it's
I
not
did
capable.
services with them voluntarily because my daughter from Michigan needed help.
Right, and that led to this crap. It's crazy.
Hey, Darren.
Hey, Bo.
For the record, I'm smoking a joint right now.
Yeah, I knew it too. I watched your cough. That's fine, man. We're in America. Hey, I'm in Maine. You could be doing that all day long, right here. Just
Hashtag legalize, everybody.
I love it, Bo.
It's legal up in Canada, so you'd be fine.
Is it legal in Canada now too?
Yeah, legal in Canada.
Now, in
I
Canada,
did.
Can you walk around?
I did want to. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
I did want to share with everyone some new information you might not know yet. Earlier this week, the Supreme Court, the United States Supreme Court, ruled that public officials can sometimes be sued if you're one of their critics and they block you on Facebook. So
really?
for those of you that, yes.
So what can you sue them for?
You what?
Because they're supposed to be active members of society because they're for the government. They're supposed to be
Yes,
fully
and
available.
you're supposed to be able to engage with them. And basically it's choking off your First Amendment rights when they block you.
Aha, that's great.
So
That
I
is
wanted to share that with everyone. I can tell you this, my trolling since the ruling has reached new levels never seen before. But
that's when I always knew my podcast, when new podcasts would come out, I knew it was great because all the caseworkers would watch that first round. You know, they'd be out listening. I'm like, watch, you can see them do it. They knew my podcast was coming out and I'd have, you know, sky's the limit one day. It was crazy. But it was all caseworkers.
Right.
You know. All right, we got Herbert here. Herbert's in the house. Herbert, how we doing?
What's up, Herbert?
Good. How you doing?
We're doing all right.
Hey, how you been, Herbert? It's been a while.
Hey. Yes, it has. I saw you the other night, but you disappeared. You were on for a minute, then you left.
Yeah, I think I was part of it, and then I ended up getting called into work, so I left.
Yeah.
Herbert, you got any
Canada.
new news?
Canada,
Do you have
how
any
are
new
you,
news?
Canada? Is that Canada? Who's that?
Oh, that's Josie. Yep, she came in for a special night, a reunite night. Yes.
Is that
Hi,
Canada
Herbert.
up there?
Yeah, that's
that-
Josie. She's right up top, buddy.
Hey, Josie, I thought about you. There was a show on about females in the military.
Oh, yay. How did that
And-
go?
I thought it was cool. I thought about you because this lady was from Canada and she had to do exercises near Quebec.
Oh, cool.
And she had to be able to speak French. And when she was talking about her experience as a female in the service, and I was like, wow. She was an armory, I guess, with, you know, guns and everything.
Yeah.
So it made me think to ask you, what position did you play?
I was an air traffic controller.
Oh, you pushed 10?
Oh, an air traffic controller.
Yeah, I worked for NORAD too, so
Oh,
Okay.
and they mess with you?
yes.
Well, one day I got to share a story with you because I'm a pilot.
Really? That's cool.
Oh, you guys just got.
I flew around the control tower one night because I lost my electric in the airplane, and I was waiting for the light gun, and I never got the light gun.
Oh no, for real?
Yep. And so I was up about 3,000. I flew around and I was watching the airplanes that were landing 2-4. So I just followed on a downwind with the last airplane coming around on base to final. And then I threw whatever I had left into my landing to come down for a landing.
Oh my God. You had no
And then
pawns at
and
all?
then I taxied. Nope. Then I taxied to the base of the tower, rung the doorbell at ISP. That's ISLIP. And I taxied to the base of the tower, rung the doorbell, and I said, "This is November 18936." They said, "We've been trying to call you." I said, "Well, I'm obviously on the ground now."
Right. Wow.
That's a
I've never
scary
used
thing.
a gun. Thank God. I know how to use a gun, but like that, the light gun, but I never got to use it. Thank God.
Yeah, but that's the problem. A lot of controllers, they didn't even look in the sky to see I was doing circles. They knew they were talking to me, and I disappeared. They gave me an approach, and I was trying to confirm that which way you're landing. We landed runway 24, Windsor, this and that. You know how you guys talk.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and all I knew was 24. I mean, I didn't even know 24. I still didn't know which way we were landing.
That's crazy.
Straight into the tower, I guess.
No, it was at nighttime. It was nighttime, and I just flew over. She knows what I mean. I flew over the control tower, waiting to get a light gun to give me permission to land.
Right. Hey, Herbert, you know what?
I got to say this real quick. My passengers, I told them that, oh, yeah, we're doing the circles for a reason. It's part of the procedure. Because I don't want them to get scared.
Oh, jeez.
Hey, Herbert, you've been watching that. Did you watch that show, Josie? What was the show that we've been watching? The program.
The program, yeah.
Right. And Bo, have you seen this? Have you seen the show, the program?
I saw it from beginning to end.
Well, that's kind of what I picture Bo's place like when he talks about the places that he's been in.
It's probably the same thing, yeah, for sure.
Herbert, what's the place? What was the school in New York?
Oh, you're talking about the elementary school?
No, the one in the program.
Ivy League, Ivy something.
Ivy something. Yeah, I forgot. Ivy Academy. Ivy
Have
Academy.
you heard of that? Have you heard of this? Bo, have you heard of this program?
Yeah, it's Ivy Academy used to be upstate New York, right off the Hudson River. But you have to understand, we knew it as an academy for kids. It's like, I don't know. At that time, troubled children, you know, like, and who would go there would be the kids of the very wealthy, because that's $4,000 a month.
I know. Yeah.
And these kids would be in abuse from the end,
the troubled teen industry. I was like, exactly.
Yeah.
Have you seen this, Melissa? I guess you didn't hear it. Bo, was that what you should check this thing out, dude, because it's a lot like what you say your school was when you were in Washington, those same places. They would be locked into this building. They never were to go outside. They couldn't look anybody else in the eye. They'd have to look down at their computers. They weren't allowed to talk to people. They were just kept in this building, and they would have to cycle out. And sometimes it would take these people 15, 22 months to go through this system. And it was abuse like you've never even heard of. It was crazy.
If I sent you some documents on Messenger, could you put them up on the screen and show them to everybody?
Yes, sir.
All right, let me do that real quick. I might.
Yeah.
I got to close out of this Chrome browser, but so I don't know if it'll keep me on. But if not, I'll just rejoin.
All right, sounds good, bro. We'll be waiting for you.
All right.
Oh yeah, and then something happened today too. Because I was saying everybody's talking about CPS. Yesterday, I guess there was and it made me think of the program. There was like a CPS where kids did a riot and they broke like $20,000 of stuff in the children's aid. So I was like, yes, sir, good job, kids, man. I was like really happy.
That's awesome.
But you know something else with that show, I enjoyed the fact. You remember when they met with the lady that used to work there in the diner?
Yes. Yeah.
That was right there. I said they got a great litigational suit because you got a witness who worked there. And remember how she even laughed about what she did to the girls and everything?
Yeah, she thought it was a joke when they were interviewing. Yes. You know, she was, ha ha ha, I probably don't remember you. You know, it was bad what I did, yada yada yada. It was, you know, like it was. She didn't take it to the. Did she even know what she was doing? Do you think, or did she think she was just playing her role?
She was playing her role. That's what, basically, that's what she's saying. I was just there to do what I had to do.
That's right, but she didn't realize that now she's a witness for those kids.
Yeah.
To confirm.
And it's funny how they got kicked out. They got kicked out because the owner was like a former thing of the Ivy Ridges.
Right.
Remember they got kicked out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Now I'm going to give you guys another show if you haven't seen it yet. I put this show on my next door. Josie, I don't know if you know what next door is. In my community.
Not what you think it is.
Huh?
So it's not what she thinks it is.
Okay.
Is it next door?
It's where we can communicate. We can all communicate. Literally thousands of us can communicate with each other right here in our developments. So when I put on the program, people, took to it and they looked at it. But then one lady got back to me and says, "You think the program is something? Wait till you see Last Stop." So I'm telling you guys, you got to watch Last Stop. It's on Prime Video. So write it down. Last Stop. STOP.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw.
I watched Last Stop. I looked at Last Stop, and I was like, "Oh my God!" I was like, "The program is just—it's not even the tip of the iceberg."
Wow.
Well, it makes you wonder.
Wait
how
till you see
many
Last Stop. You're also going to see similar things in Last Stop. In the program, did the girls have to clap their hands together? I forgot which one because I saw both shows. Did they have to sit in the room for 8 hours and clap their hand and recite something?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And Last Stop, there was a ritual like that too, that they had to do something for long periods of time. And I'm looking at all and saying, where is CPS?
Right.
They do the same shit inside of there. That's my daughter. My daughter told me, "Mom, watch the program. It's exactly what I lived in CPS."
Really?
Yes. So this is my daughter said, "Watch it because this is exactly what she lived in it." So this is exactly like CPS. When I was watching it, I was like, "Holy shit!" My daughter experienced that. The fucking searches, like where she had to like strip search at like 13 years old in front of people. She did the same fucking thing. Same thing.
Wow.
Go in here.
And these facilities are doing far worse than what parents are doing to their children, and nobody's inspecting those facilities.
100. There's no oversight. That's exactly the problem. No oversight over over CPS.
Darren, can you hear me okay?
Yep, we can hear you, Bo.
Yeah, can you read that aloud, that letter?
Sure. So this says here, it says, "Letter to the editor from Green Hill School needs systematic overhaul." Let's see. It says, "This letter is regarding the search warrant that was just executed on Green Hill School by Joint Narcotics Enforcement Team. Green Hill School is the state of Washington's long-term maximum security juvenile rehabilitation detention center. During the local drug task force search of Green Hill School, approximately 1,100 fentanyl pills and other contraband were recovered by local law enforcement. In a press release put out by Centralia Police Department regarding their investigation into this matter, it was said that many overdoses of residents occurred at Green Hill School. It was also stated that these overdoses were being handled internally. I cannot believe that this is how the situation was being handled. I'm really surprised and grateful that one of the residents there did not die because of this. As a former Green Hill School and lifelong Lewis County resident, I can personally, without a shadow of a doubt, in my mind, this raid on Green Hill School was at least 15 years overdue. Corruption throughout Green Hill School has run rampant for decades without any end in sight. Over the past several years, these 4 different female staff members have been arrested for engaging in inappropriate sexual conduct with residents. 1 staff member was arrested and indicted by the FBI for dealing, trafficking illegal narcotics into Green Hill School. A multi-million-dollar lawsuit was settled with multiple victims of sexual abuse that occurred at Green Hill. A staff member sold a firearm to a resident that was later used in a drive-by shooting, and a few escapes have occurred. The buck is going to have to stop somewhere. Serious conversations need to take place about changes and reforms being brought to Green Hill School. A few measly bag scanners, body scanners, x-ray machines, an employee training academy, and advisor academy are simply not enough. Green Hill School needs a major personnel and systematic reform. Green Hill School is designed to be the last-ditch effort by the state of Washington to rehabilitate youth before they end up serving sentences in adult prisons. With the kind of illegal activity that continues to be allowed to go on there, no rehabilitation is taking place. How can a child be rehabilitated when they are all strung out on fentanyl, is being given to those who are charged with keeping them off and away from it? When these kinds of things happen, it's youth who get shortchanged every single time, and so does this. Green Hill School is about giving our youth hope for the future, not putting them on track to become Department of Corrections inmates later. Bo D. Rupert. Damn, Bo, that's some good stuff right there, man.
Where is Green Hill School?
If you can pull up the press release,
Sure,
the one from the JNet, it'll actually show pictures of some of the stuff.
Where is Green Hill School? Where
it's
is
in a
Green
little
Hill?
town. It's in a little town called Chehalis, Washington.
Washington State?
Yes. It's halfway in between Seattle and Portland on I-5. It's right next to the freeway. It's literally the freeway borders it.
Are you talking about the memos from the Joint Task Force that has all the pictures of the drugs?
Yes.
Yeah, let me pull that up.
If you could put that up on screen and
Sure.
just so people can understand how ridiculous this was. And then there's a letter from a state senator. I don't know. It's still at your. I sent it in your inbox. That'll be the last item. That'll be the last of my exhibits. We'll mark this as Exhibit 2B.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming up. Oh, come on, baby. Come on, baby. Share. We love to share here.
While we're waiting for his share, I did some research on that. Driving vehicles without a driver's license. Is it solvent citizens?
Correct.
Okay.
Oh, baby.
After doing my research, a person can take it to court, but the officer is going to give them the ticket anyway. They don't have to take it. They don't want to, but they're going to be issued a summons for the violation. Let's say it's a stop sign or whatever, but they're going to be issued a summons.
Come on, baby. Okay, here we go. Oh. I'm exhibiting. I'm trying to exhibit. It's saying that it's sharing. Sharing is caring. There's me. We don't want to see me up here.
We have a big old Darren on the screen.
Yeah, we don't want a big old Darren on here.
You just broke my phone screen, Darren.
I know it. I know. It says 10, doesn't it? Right on it. Come on, baby. Share the screen. Messenger. Come on. Here we go. Try again.
So I did the research, Darren, and I haven't found anybody that has won in court yet.
Oh, you have not for the licenses? Yeah. Oh, I mean, we'll get Rick Martin on here.
I've heard rumors of people winning in court for that, but I've never actually been able to confirm them.
Say that again?
I've heard rumors that people have won in court before for that, but I've never been able to confirm whether they were true or not.
Okay.
Come on, baby. Sure.
Well, I did research. I haven't found anybody that won. But they have taken it to court. In other words, they have a summons for maybe traveling too fast or traveling through a stop sign for, like, say, $60, but they ended up spending over $9,000 to take it to court.
Why is this not sharing this? Oh, wait.
Hey, Herbert.
Oh, stupid.
I will look up a case name and I will send it to you later, because there actually is a case, 1996, out of the state of Michigan that argued, and there is a state of New York case.
Yeah.
Where it was won. That's one of the original cases that went up to the U.S. Supreme Court and argued the ability to travel without a license.
Yeah, travel versus driving. Yes, I know about that. But what year was that?
The travel without a license would have been right around 2,000 out of the state of New York. But there's another one that was 96, if I remember right, out of the state of Michigan.
Yeah, give me the one out of the state of New York.
When you get a license in the state of Michigan, it actually says commercial operator's license right on it. So if you get a license, it is for commercial purposes.
Okay.
And there was a whole big case on it in '96. So
right,
I'll get the info and I'll send it to you.
No, send me the one for New York, not Michigan. I'm in New York.
All right, guys. So here's the pictures that Bo is talking about right here. Look at this shit. Look at this. So these are pressed fentanyl pills, I'm assuming, right here in the bottom.
I see that.
Right, this big bag here.
Yeah.
That's what that is. Look at this. Look at this. This is meth, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Look at this locker full of this stuff. I
Read
mean, they're not making that stuff there.
the entire press release if you can. The one that starts out, it goes 2 back from that one. That one.
This one. On Thursday, August 31st, 2023, the Joint Narcotics Enforcement Team served a search warrant at the Green Hill Juvenile Rehabilitation and Detention Facility pursuant to an ongoing investigation for the possession of distribution of controlled substances in the facility. In November of 2022, a juvenile resident at Green Hill Juvenile Rehabilitation and Detention Facility located in Chalais, Washington, was found unresponsive in his jail cell with indications of having suffered a drug overdose. The student inmate was transported to St. Peter's Hospital in Olympia, Washington, where it was determined he had overdosed on fentanyl. The student inmate received life-saving care and eventually regained consciousness. The student inmate was subsequently sent home to continue his recovery. INET detectives initiated an investigation into circumstances surrounding the overdose. As a result of this 2022 investigation, over 1,000 suspected fentanyl pills going into Green Hill were intercepted by JNET, and 4 student inmates were charged with various drug crimes. In June of 2023, a letter was drafted and sent to the Governor Jay Inslee requesting the Washington State Attorney General's Office conduct an investigation into the Green Hill School for their operating practices and procedures. This letter was signed by local Centralia and Chalais chiefs of police, and also by the Centralia and Chalais city mayor, Chehalis. In August 2023, Taylor K. Wonhoff, Deputy General Counsel from Washington State Attorney General's Office, respectively declined further questions. Investigations citing that state had implemented changes to the security practices, including use of body scanners and bag scammers. The response further stated that they had launched a new employee training and enhanced an existing supervisory academy with a focus on counseling and coaching. After the arrest of the 4 student inmates from the November 2022 overdose investigation, detectives from JNET continue to receive information provided from concerned citizens regarding ongoing issues with illegal controlled substances in Green Hill. In August of 2023, JNET detectives received tips that drug overdoses were occurring on the Green Hill facility and allegedly being handled internally rather than being referred to law enforcement. JNET detectives also learned Child Protective Services had received information on August 15, 2023, alleging that a staff member at the Green Hill facility was providing a student inmate with illegal controlled substances. Recognizing the devastating effects of the recent fentanyl overdose investigations to the student inmate within the Green Hill facility, JNET initiated a new investigation into allegations of overdoses and illegal drug use in Green Hill. On August 17, 2023, a JNET detective accompanied a CPS investigator to the Green Hill Juvenile Rehabilitation Detention Facility to follow up on the CPS complaint regarding Green Hill staff member providing a student inmate with illegal controlled substances. After contacting witnesses there, the JNET detective learned staff members had taken suspected fentanyl from multiple student inmates connected to the CPS complaint. The JNET detective contacted an administrator at the Green Hill facility and asked for the fentanyl pills that had been seized. The administrator stated that he would coordinate with the detective to get the illicit controlled substances to law enforcement. By Wednesday, August 30th, 2023, JNET detectives had not heard back from Green Hill regarding their efforts to recover the suspected fentanyl connected to the CPS complaint. On Thursday, August 31st, JNet detectives, along with Chief Denham of the Centralia Police Department and Deputy Chief McKnight of the Chelios Police Department, went to Green Hill Juvenile Rehabilitation Detention Facility to serve a search warrant to recover evidence relating to the possession and distribution of illegal controlled substances in the Green Hill facility. JNet detectives located lockers where Green Hill staff were storing contraband found within the facility dating back to 2017. In these lockers, JNet detectives found illicit controlled substances, cell phones, vape pens, improvised knives, handwritten documents arranging illegal drug transactions, and hand tools. The illegal controlled substances include green leafy substances believed to be marijuana, crystal substances believed to be methamphetamine, powder substances believed to be fentanyl, pills believed to be fentanyl. These substances will be sent to a lab for testing as needed, part of this ongoing investigation. JNet detectives are continuing to work with the staff at Green Hill facility to investigate seized evidence for potential crimes of RCW 994041, possession of narcotic drugs, controlled substances, alcohol, cannabis, other intoxicants, cell phone, or form of electronic telecommunications devices by prisoners. RCW 6950401, possession with intent to deliver a controlled substance. RCW 9A76150, introducing contraband in the second degree. Then it goes on, if any information. That's a crap load of stuff in this place.
And just think, this is Washington State's main juvenile rehabilitation detention center.
Wow.
So you can't tell me those kids are getting rehabilitated.
No.
You can't tell me those kids are getting help. And, you know, I have taken them to task repeatedly over this. One more letter, Darren. It's the last.
All right, one more, and then we got to wrap it up. So, sure. What do you want me to read, buddy?
It's the one from the state senate.
That's crazy. Fentanyl is like the most dangerous drug out there right now. Like they want to kill them. What the fuck?
Yeah, that's what they're doing. This one here, Bob. Last one.
Yeah, the very last one on Facebook.
Worse than fentanyl is they're lacing it with horse tranquilizer.
Yeah,
I heard that.
And now these kids are having a fentanyl addiction, which is going to put them on track to the prison system, and that is what I'm afraid of. They cheated so many kids out of a fair shake. It's unbelievable. This is probably one of the most biggest travesties I've ever seen. Probably.
And
it's up
like, I mean, they're in on it if there's that much drugs. Like,
right.
Like strip search, blah blah. It's not the kids that are bringing it in, obviously.
Right. None of them have a fentanyl machine inside their room.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, someone should reach out and try to set up something to where there's a certain level of immunity if those kids become drug-based offenders to help with their rehab as kind of, you know, maybe even a suit against the school.
Right.
Because these people are going to start coming out of the woodworks at 25, 27 when they're robbing and stealing just to get high again.
Right.
That's right.
And there should be some kind of, the governor should be held responsible in a way to have to maybe not really necessarily pardon, but to offer free services to them because it was their fault in the beginning.
One of the worst situations about this is the governor doesn't want to get involved. It's his last year. Now it's his facility, but he doesn't want to get involved because he's our longest serving governor in the whole country right now with 3 terms and 12 years under his belt. And this is his last year.
Stop too.
So he doesn't want to get
start a suit against him before he steps down. That way, that way, you know, it's still handled within the requirements of his term, even though it'll carry on to the new governor. So the responsibility will switch hands.
All right, let me see here. All right, let me read this one for you. Last one here. Don't mind me and my vacancy here. This says here, Governor Inslee, it is no secret that the environment of Green Hill Schools in Chelios has become extremely dangerous for students and staff. News reports have shown you claiming the situation at the facility is improving. The reports of repeated riots, multiple drug overdoses, smuggling of contraband into the facility, employee misconduct, lack of proper supervision, and other incidents paint a different picture, one of chaos and lawlessness. When the chief of police in Centralia, Stacey Durham, requested that you investigate the facility, you dismissed his concerns and first-hand reports of how bad the situation had gotten. When asked about the staff storing contraband in lockers and turning it over to law enforcement as required by the law, you claimed there has been misunderstanding and said they were improving thanks to the state taking stronger measures to keep drugs out of the facility. I assure you that things are not improving. Assaults are more frequent and drugs are still flowing into Green Hill School. According to a news report on February 6th, there have been 34 911 calls from the facility since you made the claim that the stronger, I can't read that, are being enacted. In a single week in January, 4 students overdosed on fentanyl. More than one of those young men required multiple doses of rescue drug Narcan to survive. Other students have not saved drugs in the past are being pursued to use those who possess smuggled opioids, Xanax, and other illegal substances. Riots are becoming more a concern, and gang activity is rampant. In addition, inadequate protocols and staff misconduct resulting from poor engagement by the Department of Youth, Children, and Families. The change in law opened Green Hill School to students between the ages of 18 to 25, created even more problems. Majority of Democrats who passed the law, which you signed and I oppose, make a huge mistake. Adults do not belong locked up with children. Since that's not likely to change, the challenge is for you to make it work. The change in the law that moved adults to Green Hill School was poorly implemented, and what we are seeing now is the disastrous fallout. I ask you again to launch a complete and credible investigation into the staff, policies, procedures, executives, and mismanagement at Green Hill. Get to the root of the dysfunction and take swift, meaningful, and common sense action to fix them. If staff have engaged in illegal activity such as smuggling drugs into students or refusing to comply with the law, course their prosecution. Create their prosecution. I also ask you stop ignoring and covering up serious problems brought to light by law enforcement, the press, and Green Hill staff who have blown the whistle on the facility. Policies passed by majority Democrats, even the past years, so improve the juvenile justice system, are a failed experiment in the name of compassion. It's not compassionate to allow Green Hill School students to be injured, to overdose, or to die. Wow, man. That's crazy.
Who's that letter to? I got a question. Who wrote that letter and to who?
State Senator John Braun wrote that letter to Governor Jay Inslee.
It's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. All right, guys. Well, we're over the time here. Bo, I want to thank you very much for bringing this up and bringing this to our attention. And I really do hope that you can get in touch with Josie and help her out with her situation, because I know that you're a man that slams down the letters to the editors and everything, and I'm sure that she would love to have your support. So if you guys can get in touch. Do you guys have any last words? Start with you, Josie. You got anything last to say tonight?
No, I'll be on next Monday.
Yes, she will be, and so will we. So yes, she will be. What about you, Herbert? Anything last to say?
No, I'm sorry I got a little late there, but I'm glad you guys are still all together. That's wonderful.
Yes, sir. And Melissa, how about you? Melissa?
No, yes, I'm here. Sorry, trying to turn off the mute so you're not hearing my TV in the background. I think that we all just need to start working and finding other ways to try to make them accountable for the actions of which they do. I mean, that really is the accountability.
It is, and I think we're all on track for finding that solution. It's just, it's just putting the head to the grind and doing things that actually make a difference. It's doing things that actually, count. Instead of sitting around and bitching about it, we're all about doing it. So All right, guys. Well, thank you all very much for joining me. Josie, we'll see you next Monday. Herbert, Melissa, we'll see you guys tomorrow. And Bo, I'll catch you on the flip side, baby.
All right, man. Thanks. Good night.
All right, thank you. All right, everybody. So as you can see, these institutions, they are just as bad. And, you know, everybody's right. Where is CPS? Where is CPS coming and trying to save these kids that are in these? Just because they're in institutions doesn't mean that they belong to be just thrown and cast away. You know, this is going on all across the country. We need to start making sure that we hold our senators, our governors, especially all of these people accountable for what's going on. Enough is enough. You know, we vote these people in office to do a job. If they're not doing it, then damn it, we need to enforce them and vote them out. You know, go ahead and check out abolishcps.com. The new newsletter has a bunch of political candidates that are coming up and what they're doing to what they're going to plan on doing for this next election to make it so CPS is you know, gets the slaughter. This is all serious stuff, guys. We need to be sure that we pay attention. We pass along to everybody the knowledge that we have, what we know, what we don't know, because if we don't, no one's ever going to be able to do anything about it. As for tonight, guys, I'm CPS Punisher. I'm out of here.
Mommy's right here. I got you, baby. I'm not hurting you. I'm supporting my daughter because this is going to court. I love you, baby.
Greetings, world. We are anonymous. Families are being destroyed. Children are being emotionally torn apart. In the United States, this when President Bill Clinton signed the Adoption and Safe Families Act of 1997. Since then, taking children from their loving parents has become a multi-billion-dollar industry. Children are now seen as walking, breathing bags of money for corrupt state governments all over the United States. The US government incentivizes the kidnapping of children by providing lump sums of cash from federal funding to the states.
Going to CPS, trying to work everything out with them, thinking my son might be adopted.
Our children are the most precious people in our lives. We must protect them. In many cases, children are taken from their loving parents for the smallest of reasons, such as eating too much fruit or smoking a joint in their own home.
Child Protective Services, CPS, has all been known for massive corruption, the falsifying of documents, statements, and the list goes on.
Now, state police issued an Amber Alert for the pair on Monday after she failed to turn her son over to CYFD. On Tuesday, Bryant went on Facebook claiming she's the victim of CPS corruption.
This is a legal, human trafficking mafia with unlimited power and absolutely no accountability.
You want some juice, Mama? You want to take your juice? You want to drink a little bit right now? No. Let her hold her since she seems to be kind of the calmest right now. Okay.
This is a call to all, remove your fear, and put on your masks. Find all of the CPS groups on social media platforms, get involved, do extensive research. Arm yourself with information. If you live in fear of the CPS mafia, then remove your fear, join with others and fight back. We will push to change the system, as long as the CPS uses corrupted methods to destroy our lives.
The Department of Child Protective Services has become a protected empire, built on taking children and separating families.
This is Nancy Schaefer. She gave up her career, and later her life, for the fight against CPS. The details of her murder are very suspicious, and many believe that she was murdered by the CPS for her heroic deeds. Please research her.
This is not to say that there are not those children who do need to be removed from wretched situations and need protection. However, my report is concerned with the children and parents caught up in legal kidnapping. Having worked with probably 300 cases statewide and hundreds across the country, and in nearly every state, I am convinced there is no accountability. There is no accountability. There is no accountability in Child Protective Services.
CPS is well known for massive corruption and criminal acts.
Assault, burglary, DWI, theft, domestic violence, indecent exposure, prostitution, possession of cocaine and marijuana, and selling alcohol to minors. What do all of these crimes have in common? They are just some of the crimes committed by people who work for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. That's right, the agency in charge of protecting Texas children. We found more than 370 employees have a criminal background. Some have direct contact with foster kids. David Mendoza pled guilty to assault with bodily injury to a family member and violating a protective order. He's a CPS supervisor in El Paso. Richard Landon was arrested for indecent exposure in 1997, and in 1994 he was arrested for prostitution after soliciting an undercover cop. He also works for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services.
Look at that baby. Look how beautiful that baby is. They'll get hundreds of thousands of federal funds, especially if they put it on a couple psychotropic drugs, and then they'll adopt it out to somebody.
We call all to join together and stop this mafia. Child Protective Services, also known as CPS. CPS custody is one of the most dangerous places for a child. Many children are abused and sometimes even killed.
If somebody hurts my son, I'm filing a lawsuit.
CPS, Child Protective Services, we are waking up to your corruption involved with children, and we will expose you. We are anonymous, we are legion, we do not forgive, and we never forget. CPS, expect us.